man?
Okay, we'll do. Hello. Whoa, that was loud. God. Holy crap. How are you guys? Good. Good. Who was here yesterday? Woo! Awesome. So, a lot of you were. Excellent. Okay, well, my name is David Vincent. For those of you who don't know, who weren't here yesterday. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi. And I'm a voice actor based out of Los Angeles, California. And some of the roles that you may recognize me from in anime. Do we have any Code Geass fans out here? Awesome. I did the voice for Lee Shin-kei in Code Geass. In Blue Exorcist, which is actually on Toonami right now, I'm doing the voice for Arthur Auguste Angel. It's a good one. And then some of you may know me as Grimjow Jaggerjack from Bleach. Awesome. And soon enough, in anime, you're going to hear me. Actually, next week, we're launching the English version for the series Kill La Kill. Yes, which I'm super excited about, and I'm voicing Senketsu, or Senketsu, however you choose to say it. And is any gamers out here, video games? Awesome. All right, you know me as Jin Kisaragi and Hakumen from Blaze Blue. Resident Evil is Raymond Vester. Oh gosh, let's see, what else? Tales of Graces as Richard. And Street Fighter is T-Hawk, and one of my absolute favorites is Martial Law in the series Tekken. So I'm really stoked to be here. We're going to have a fun hour together, and my colleague and friend.
Hello everyone. You guys are so energetic for a Sunday. I'm a little low-key today, so I apologize. I'm tired. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm J. Michael Tatum, and I'm a voice actor and adaptive writer. You probably know me from an anime. It's lots of stuff. I think we topped like the 200 mark last year. Wow. Yeah. The big ones are Sebastian from Black Butler. Jesus. Friends from Italia. Save your voice. It's only noon or one, whatever. Right now, currently two things on TV that I'm really excited about. An Attack on Titan, as a lead adaptive writer, and also as Erwin, who I think made one of his, like, not his first appearance, but his first appearance in a while in last night's episode. So, hooray! I love that character because his whole shtick is we're all gonna die. Who's with me? Also, Space Dandy. I am the villainous and very ineffectual Dr. Gel, the space ape in a pimp wig. Yes, it's the pinnacle of my career. And lots of other stuff besides. So cool, thank you guys for coming, and for those of you that came again, I don't know why you're here, maybe just to fact check us, I suppose. It's okay, I welcome it. You'll hear me tell the same story 5 different ways. So yes, this is Q&A, which means you ask questions and we give answers. So before I get started though, a couple of rules that'll help everything run a little smoothly, I find. Let's keep it to just Q&A. No time for us to like sign autographs and come and jump and run and hug you. That's just, it's weird. It's a very small room. It's a fire hazard. So let's all be safe. So yes, please don't put me on the phone with your mother or your best friends, sisters, roommates, cousins, dog walker, and ask me to marry them in Sebastian's voice. Happens all the time. But yeah, let's just keep it nice and friendly, and family friendly is too, very, very important. And please, if you raise your hand and we pick on you, or you raise your hand the entire time and we don't pick on you, rather, please don't feel like we didn't like you or anything. We try to be as random as possible in picking, and it's very, very hard. So we're like, you with the thing on the stuff and the stuff. So, who's got a good question for? Oh, and preferably question for both of us. It's nice to have like questions that we can both answer like in a general kind of way. I saw your hand go first, Blueface.
How did David Vincent save your life from an elevator?
How did David Vincent save my life from an elevator? Shall I tell the story? Yeah, because you have your version, I have mine, because I was actually trapped in the elevator and he was outside the elevator. Okay, so this was SuperCon, I think, in Miami. Big con, and there were a bunch of people getting on the elevator. I was tired, I wanted to go up to my room just to turn in for the night. It was already like 2 o'clock in the morning and I had an early panel, so, you know, I know, sob story. I stayed up late and I was just like, oh, I really have to get up at 8. Oh. So I get in this elevator, and there's a lot of foot traffic in this elevator bay, and these elevators take forever, so whenever one opens up, you know how it is, everyone's like, go, go! There's this mad dash for the elevator. So everyone gets on this elevator, and then people are trying to kick the door open to keep it open for more people that are coming. Like, come, no, you, come, 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 come. And I'm in the back going, please stop kicking the elevator door, it's gonna break. Please stop kicking the elevator door, it's gonna break. Please stop kicking the elevator door, it's gonna break. And finally it breaks, and it just closes. Lights go out. No movement, nothing. We can't punch the button to like get anywhere. Of course, and my first response, I'm like, I told you not to kick the elevator door. And there's about 15 of us in this elevator, and there's like this really big, like buff, like artist who's there. And he and I are both like, well, let's see if we can try to get this open, try to be calm. And so we're like, "Arr, arr." We couldn't budge it. So I'm like, oh my God, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. And I mean, seriously, like no one could get a cell phone reception, so we couldn't call anybody. And the little emergency phone thing, little speaker, we're like, hit it, and all we hear is, we're like, and so all I know is we're there for like 15 minutes or so, and then finally they open it back up. But then on his side,
On my side, I'm like terribly claustrophobic as it is, so I don't like riding in elevators. Well, I happen to be right behind Tatum, and as he's in, I see how many people cram onto this elevator with him. And I see the kicking, and then all of a sudden, and it's done. The elevator's not going anywhere. No summer, I can't call him, nothing. I can't get a hold of the guy. And I'm panicking on the outside of the elevator because I know like how bad I would be losing it if I were inside. And so I'm like trying to get the doors open from the outside, screaming, "Damn, we're coming in to get you, man, hold tight." And so I'm like in a complete panic because I would be losing it if I was in there. So we run off to get some maintenance guy way off on the other side of the hotel who's like, yeah, I can't be over there for at least 15 minutes and we'll see what happens. So I'm just completely losing it. Finally the guy shows up and we're able to pry open this elevator where a very sweaty Tatum poured out onto the floor. So
that wasn't sweat, those were tears. But the best part is like David's there, he's like, oh my God, you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay, thank you. We would have been stuck in that thing for like an hour, hour and a half had he not found the guy because they had no idea. There was no communication from the elevator. We couldn't get a hold of anybody, so we'd have been like, all right, everyone, just, you know, whatever. Smoke him if you got him. All right, do you want to pick another question?
sure, let's go with you right here.
What would you do if you were on the Titanic while it was sinking? And that's for both of you.
Did you have that question written on your arm?
Yes.
Come up for just a moment, please. I need a picture of that, because that's actually very awesome. You're like, I know exactly what I want. All right. Perfect, thank you.
Remember the scene in the movie, and the ship was going down, and the band was playing, and they knew that they weren't getting off and not going anywhere? I'd probably join in with that band.
I would like to think that I would be dignified and like be the guy that's like, I'll have a brandy. I'm going to sit down and just with my top hat and my coat and just smoke a nice cigar, looking out at the ocean that's about to consume me. I'm pretty sure I'd be the guy at the highest point of the ship as it's tipping, going, oh my God, we're gonna die! I would be in an absolute panic. That would be me. I did an exhibit. I went through an exhibit that came to Dallas, which is where I'm from. And it was a Titanic exhibit. It was really cool. They had a lot of artifacts actually from the ship, and which is cool because, well, I say cool, it's very humbling because it makes it very personal when you see like, oh, here's like a comb that this guy, here's some luggage that this guy or this woman used, and it just makes it very real. And but before you go into this exhibit, they give you a ticket, with an actual passenger's name on it, you know, as though you were that person. And you're at the very end of the exhibit, there's a display where you can check your ticket number to see if you have the name of one of the people who survived. And obviously most people didn't, and so you can get to that last room where there's the big like memorial wall with all the names on it of the people and their fate, and you're like, oh my God, this is... Why the Titanic? Is that just your thing? Is that cool? Anything?
No, we watched the movie last night.
Oh. True story, the first time I was watching that movie, I mean, it's a good movie, but like, there was somebody, this is funny even though it was kind of a douche thing to do. Someone was in the theater back behind everyone else. And when it gets really tense when they're about to hit the iceberg, you know, and everyone's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Someone in the back of the theater's like, oh my God, you think they're gonna hit? Fair enough, fair enough. Who's got another question? You in the second row with the red.
Okay, I have a question for both of you.
Excellent.
That's it.
What? You just had a statement? That was a statement. Lose. You in the back with the Pokemon hat.
How does it feel to play, for both of you, how does it feel to play major roles in two very big animes?
Awesome.
Yeah. Terrific. That's super exciting. Really thrilled to be a part of the series. Go ahead.
What would be one anime you would bring to life?
An anime that I would bring to life. Durarara. And the reason why is because in that anime I played a 15-year-old in love with a disembodied head. So how fantastic would that be in real life?
Bakano. I would love to see Bakano as a live action because I would love to play Isaac. And I know Caitlin Glass would love to play Miria. Those two are like two of my favorite characters and from anything, anime, what have you. I love it. So that's my. I could choose a lot, but Bakano keeps coming back to me. You want to pick one?
Sure. User.
What are some tips for those of us who would like to maybe explore the world of voice acting? Maybe a story of how you get started, or
Sure, absolutely. You know, I'll tell you real quick how I got started. I got my start on stage. I did a ton of theater, and then lots and lots of sketch comedy and stand-up comedy. And I was actually had moved. I graduated from college and moved to New York City, and was doing just that. I was on stage, and a lady saw me on stage who happened to be a voiceover agent, and she gave me her card after one of my shows. And that's how I got my foray into the world of voice acting. What I would recommend, because that was a long time ago, what I would recommend if you're interested in getting into it is do theater, get on stage as much as you can, any opportunity you have, but take acting classes and take voice acting classes. There are voice-over classes throughout the country. There are also traveling workshops that will come to you from the major cities. I highly recommend doing that just because when you actually get behind the microphone and are able to work, you're going to learn so much just about the craft of voice acting and acting, but not just that, it'll also give you an opportunity to network and get to know more people, because networking is actually a very, very big part of the industry as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Acting is one of the things, we obviously meet a lot of people like yourself who are like, you know, I really want to get into acting, and that's cool, except that a lot of people just, it's hard, it's really hard. And I don't mean just hard to get into it, like any business is, I mean, it's just hard to do. Actors that are good, I guess, make it look kind of easy and fun, and it is very rewarding, but it's work. So the best advice I give you, yeah, workshops, take classes, because it's definitely not a skill set you can just build on your own. It's one of those social, organic things. You need to be in a group of people, you need to have teachers, you need to be, stage is the best experience because stage teaches you like all the great basics of acting. I mean, that's kind of the source. But as far as like trying to make a living, if you want to try to go out there, it's really difficult to make a living. Most of us wear a lot of different hats in order to be able to do this. I'm also an adaptive writer. I was director for some time, and I'm also an actor. So I'm all over the map. So the trick to staying employed as a voice actor is to cast your net as widely as possible. Which means take the voice out of the equation, voice actor, and focus on the word actor. Be willing to do all kinds of acting. Stage, screen, voice acting, what have you, commercial, cartoons, anime, games. Be willing to do all of it because the more you can do, the more you get to do. And the more people you meet. And the great thing about getting into acting, it's sometimes as easy as just showing up and putting in your time. It's not going to happen overnight, but you can, like the best advice someone gave, that I heard someone give a guy was say, just, you know what, if you want to learn stagecraft, show up to some local theater and be willing to help them put up sets. And just, be willing to help them, because they're like gypsies. They will take the help of, oh my God, we totally need help, hammering in nails or painting this scrim. And you build up rapport with the theater community that way, and then eventually you'll get a chance to perhaps, audition or know where the best workshops are going to be held, and you get your foot in the door that way. It takes time. You have to be willing to put in the time and the effort. A lot of people see it as something they can do to get quick, to get rich quick, and never going to make you rich. I promise. You know, there's only so many Brad Pitts in the world, sadly. But I mean, yeah. So it's one of those. You have to be in love with the lifestyle, not just the craft. The idea of being creative and getting on stage or in front of a camera, in front of a mic, and getting to breathe life into a character. That's really appealing. But there's a whole other side of it that you have to really dedicate yourself to, and that's the business side of it. How to promote yourself, how to network, how to find the good workshops as opposed to the scams. There's a lot of scams out there. How to find a good agent, how to cut a demo, all these things that people don't like to think of, because I know creative types. I'm a creative type, and the reason I'm an actor is because I can't decide what the hell I want to do with my life. So being an actor, I can pretend to be all the things. But I had to learn how to support myself, and so I had to learn the business side of it too, which is not as glamorous. In fact, it's as far from glamorous as perhaps the creative side of it looks. So it's a difficult thing, but you have to be patient, you have to be dedicated, and you have to be, persistent, and you have to have a safety net. Have 1,000 backup plans. Be willing to support yourself, carrying plates, or doing whatever it is you can do while you wait for that audition or for that demo reel to get caught or what have you. And study. There's always books coming out. There's always new technologies to learn that you can. I mean, most of us have booths at home that we've made or built, and we're familiar with the technologies so that we can audition at home and things like that. I mean, that just anything to give you an edge, because it's a highly, highly competitive business. So I hope that helps. I don't mean to overwhelm you with all that stuff. It's acting is hard. So, you in the back with the wolf thing on, yes.
Which character did you enjoy the most voicing?
Which character did we enjoy the most? It's really hard for me to pick a favorite because I've done so many, and I get really bound to them. They really become a part of me afterwards. Even the minor characters that are only in an episode or have one line. It's really such a fun job. And as an actor, like I said, as I was alluding to earlier, it can be rare to get work. I mean, you get a lot of rejections before you get that, yes, here's a gig. So I'm always so happy to be working that whatever I'm doing at the moment is my absolute favorite, and that character will always be a part of me because he represents a small victory in the business for me. So I have a lot of favorites. It's hard to pick. I'm also crazy, and they're all in my head right now, and if I pick a favorite, all the others will be mad at me later, I promise.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to, I guess I could say the ones that pay me are my favorites, but no, honestly, it's hard to pick. I would say Grimjow from Bleach would definitely be one of my favorites. Just one of the coolest characters ever. But one of my personal favorites is Martial Law from Tekken. And there's not even a ton of dialogue in those games, but the reason why I love him so much is because it's based on, the character's based loosely on Bruce Lee. Did I tell this story yesterday? I don't think so. Okay, I'll tell you a quick funny story. So I loved Bruce Lee growing up. I used to go around the house going, and driving my poor mom nuts. And so I landed the job for martial law in Tekken, and so I'm in the booth, and it's the first time, because I've been doing it so long now that I don't really get nervous when I go in the booth. I'm just kind of there, ready to work. But this time in particular, I was a little bit nervous because the Japanese producers had come over from Japan, and you're in the booth, and there's a big old window in there, and on the other side of the window is the producers and the director and the engineer. And so I'm getting ready to go, and they're like, okay, David, are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. And we're rolling, and so I busted out with my first, and the Japanese producers look at each other and they're going, oh the hell. And he looks at me and he goes, you do best Bruce Lee of any white man we know. Yes! You in the back, sir.
If Titanic was an anime, what character would you be and why?
The guy on the top of the crowd screaming, "Oh my God, we're all gonna die!" We've covered that. Now it's just anime.
Okay, we got way in the back corner there. Yes.
It's a really stupid question. I just wanted to answer. But what are your biggest fears?
Biggest fears? What do you want to know?
I don't know.
Man, may I say for a moment?
Okay, let me give you and everyone else in this room some advice. A few years ago, I came out as being afraid of clowns. Right. Oh, everyone's, no, it's evil. Clowns are evil. They scare the hell out of me, right? I'm phobic of clowns. I've been kicked out of a theme park for beating up a clown. True story. It was many years ago, but whatever. I wish now, in retrospect, that I had told everyone that I was afraid of just unmarked wads of cash. I'm like, I'm scared of clowns. Suddenly, everyone's just flooding my wall on Facebook with pictures of evil clowns. I'm like, damn it, this isn't cool. So if you have some deep, dark fear, don't tell anyone or lie and tell them it's something you actually want. Because they'll be like, oh my God, I'm terrified of someone just bringing me jewelry. And suddenly jewelry all over the place. Or I'm terrified of pictures of Brad Pitt or Chris Hemsworth just popping up in front of me. That's, I don't know. I have a lot of minor fears. Clowns is probably the biggest one. Don't test me on it, I swear. And if you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna come with the guy, it's not funny. I will either run away or end you.
Whenever I'm on a run, getting bit by a dog. There's a lot of dogs in my neighborhood where I run, so I guess that would be one fear that I think of offhand. It's not very funny or great. There it is. You want to take your time?
Oh yeah.
How about you, sweetie?
What's the weirdest request you've gotten from a fan?
Weirdest request I've gotten from a fan? I don't know, I have a really high threshold for weird. Because I'm a pretty weird guy myself, so I don't always know weird when I see it, or it doesn't strike me as weird, because I'm like, oh, we're normal. I believe I told this story yesterday, for those of you that were here. The strangest thing that's happened to me at a con that was request related was I had stepped out into the night for some fresh air, and out of the shadows comes this 100-year-old woman dressed as though she really wished she were 18. It was weird and it was a little gross, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she was a little too old to be wearing what she's wearing, and the outfit was great. She had this great black corset on, but she comes out of the night like a vampire, smoking her Virginia Slim, and she's got this deep, gravelly blues singer's voice, and she's like, hey, I want you to sign my corset. So she has this black Sharpie, but the corset is black, so I point this out, and she's like, oh, it's okay, I've had hundreds of people sign this thing, but I'm the only one that knows. Still not the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sign this now, just in case if I don't, you'll murder me. So me and the other voice actor she was talking to, crouched down, and we're signing her corset. And as we signed it, she really enjoyed herself. Let me just say that. But in the midst of us signing it, she also just farted. I mean, as big as you please. She's like trying to be classy, standing there like this while we're signing it, and suddenly, and me and the other voice actor were like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Do we say something? She's not owning it. She's not owning it at all. There's nothing worse than being next to a person that's like, and you're like, I know that was you. There was no one else here. Sort of thing. And you're like, this is weird now. We're oddly bonded. And she never did. We kind of stood back up very quickly to get away from ground zero and like handed her Sharpie, and she put it back in her decollage and said, thank you, gentlemen, and then proceeded to slide back into the shadows. And I'm like, I really think I'm gonna see her again before I die. That's probably the weirdest thing. That was a few years ago now.
I know I mentioned yesterday when we got asked that question that I had a guy have me sign a bowl of spaghetti, a to-go bowl of spaghetti. But then it just occurred to me while you were telling that story, and I forget what convention I was at, but I was in the autograph line, and a very large woman